welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Maat. Tonight, I have with me a panel of powerful sisters that I have engaged with. I mean, literally, like I didn't just get them out of the thin air. These are sisters that that I communicate with, and these are sisters that I hold in high regard. And tonight, we're going to be talking about why I chose my natural hair. Why did I choose my natural hair? And so again, family, backstage, I was talking to Sister Akousa, and I was telling her that she had put up a post about a week ago that really motivated me to have this discussion, because right now we're being literally inundated with images of, a lot of women are wearing the weave, the blonde hair, the tracks, and that is having a psychological and emotional impact on our young girls. And so it's imperative that we promote, our natural selves, and embrace our natural selves and promote our natural selves. I know that there was a video that went viral a few weeks ago. This Asian girl, she got on YouTube and she started talking about Black women and saying that we're ashamed of our natural hair, and she started going in on natural hair, and a lot of people were up in arms about that. But what I said to the people who were up in arms about it, I said, well, what is the perception that Black women give off when we prefer to wear weaves and perms, over our natural hair? So that is literally the perception, that we must be ashamed of our natural hair, or something like that. And that's the perception really that a lot of other races, not that we care about their perception, but that's the perception that we give off. So anyway, family, without further ado, I want to I would like each sister to introduce herself to the listening audience. Again, family, tonight we're talking about why I chose my natural hair. Share this show, family. Let's get the views up. Sharing is caring, and so let's get this information out to the people. I want to start first with my beloved sister, Sister Afi, the painter, the creator, the artist. Go ahead, Sister Effie. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my sister, to the listening audience. You gotta unmute your mic, Queen.
I'm Sister Akousa, and first, thank you, sis, for including me on this panel. It's a important topic, and I'm glad that we can come together and talk about it from an intellectual perspective. Because usually, and I'm pretty sure you and I have also been in the same discussion at the same time when this was going on, and usually a lot of women get upset when this topic is presented in front of them for a myriad of reasons. But at some point, we have to be realistic about what's going on and sit in our truth and move forward, whether you're going to move forward with natural, move forward with whatever else. So I think that that's an important thing for us to start being honest and accountable with the behaviors that we continue to push forward in the culture. So thank you for inviting me. And it's a pleasure to meet you, sisters. I'm Akousa. I am a Pan-Africanist. I am an oil painter. I am a retired forensic psychotherapist. I am all things pro-Black and Pan-Africanism.
Ashe. Sister Mia, my sister Mia, beloved Mia, please unmute your mic and introduce yourself to the people, Queen.
All right, that is an African chant. It is just a chant of greeting in the Wolof dialect of West Africa. My name is Mia Miata. I am, first of all, I am a Black woman. I am a Black woman on purpose. I'm a Black woman in her physical being, in her spiritual being, in her mental being. I'm so happy to be here. My journey toward being natural was really just like amazing. There was a woman that was working next to me, Tanya. I'll never forget. If you ever heard of the story of Jordan McNair and the young man who died at University of Maryland, a freak accident, but long story short, that's his mother. And she had these coils. And I just didn't understand. And I was a grown woman. And I said, how did you get your hair to do that? And she says, Mia, I don't have a perm. And from that moment on, I swore I would never ever chemically relax or alter my hair. I wanted my hair to be like Tanya's. And so it was a journey towards self-love, self-appreciation. So that being said, my name is Mia Miata. I'm a vocalist, I'm an author, I'm an educator, I'm your friend, I'm your sister. And I'm just so happy to be here to participate in this conversation. And just like the sister mentioned, Black women, especially, we get, this is a very sensitive topic, right? I remember my forehead being covered with pimples because my mother put a Jerry curl in my hair, right? And it was like a process of loving and learning about myself, right? And I say all that to say is that this is a very sensitive topic, but I think it is a very necessary topic, and it is for the culture. And it is important that we have these kinds of conversations, even if they are uncomfortable, right? So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Ashe, Ashe. Last but not least, Sister Akousa Amponsa. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the listening audience, Queen.
Peace to you all. Peace to you all. I am Akousa. I am a wellness influencer. I am also an author. I think the most important role that I carry is just being a mom and a wife. And I'm so excited to be here with you all tonight to share my journey on how I transition from chemicals to a more natural state.
Wonderful. All right, so let's jump in it. And actually, Sister Mia Miata, she kind of touched on that because that was my first question. I wanted to ask each lady, what was your journey, to coming into your natural hair? Why did you choose your natural hair? What did that journey look like? And I know Sister Afi, I'm not going to give it away, but she told me something in the chat. But Sister Effie, I want to start with you because you're like an anomaly when you told me what you told me. But go ahead and share it with the listening audience about your natural hair.
Yeah, so I wish I could have the experience of going from um, understanding myself and transitioning from chemically processed hair to natural hair, but I've not had chemically processed hair. I did always have loose hair, and I have I'm always searching for a word to describe hair textures. But I had I have a pretty manageable, for lack of a better term, braid. Now I have locks now. What brought me on my lock journey is physical. I have rheumatoid arthritis pretty terribly, and it was just a strain to do my hair all the time. So yeah, I don't have the conventional journey, but I respect all of them just the same. And I've been seeing the trends and seeing the waves. And there was a point in time I can remember younger where a lot of women around me, I remember having more natural hair. And then somewhere in the late 80s, I think it just kind of exploded with, at least from what I can remember. But it wasn't that big of a thing in my, not necessarily my house, but maybe my family, maybe my region, maybe my area. We always did the hot combs with the, that royal hair dressing. And so when my mother wanted us to have straight hair, that's just what she went to, and it washed out, and we were back to the curls. So that's just kind of what I always knew, and didn't really understand perming and such until maybe junior high ish, maybe the beginning of high school. And my sister got one around that time because she had the mullet where it was short in the top and curly, and then longer in the back, and she wanted it to always hang and be able to wrap it up for school and go. So that's when I kind of really figured out about relaxers. But I don't really think it's I don't know. I'm just not a upkeeping kind of woman when it comes to my hair. I hate to say it. I don't like sleeping with bonnets. I don't like, I'm just kind of, it is, you're going to get what's going to come from up under this hair wrap or this hat or whatever the case is. And, it works for me. And the biggest thing to me is, I don't have to go through the pain every day of dealing with my hair in the morning. So it works for me.
Beautiful, beautiful. But thanks for sharing that. Ooh, I hear some feedback. There we go. Thanks for sharing that story with us. So when I put the show out there, you said, Doc, I mean, I'll come and talk. You said, but you said that's not my journey. And I said, well, no, that I still wanted you on because that to me, I feel like that in my environment, that's not the norm. In my environment, the norm is perm or relaxers. So relaxers, um, uh, um, and weave, weave the sew-ins, the glue-ins. That is what I was accustomed to growing up with and seeing in Baltimore. And so, Sister Akousa, could you talk to us about your journey and how I mean, have you always been natural, or is that something? No, you wasn't always natural, because I saw your wedding pictures. I saw your wedding pictures, Queen. And so is she frozen? Sister Akousa, are you there? Your picture is a little frozen. Sister me.
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
you're there. Yes, yes, yes. I can hear you, but
I'm
you were a
here.
little frozen there. But I was saying that
Okay.
I was getting ready. I was asking you, were you always natural? And then I remember seeing your wedding pictures. So you weren't always natural. And so could you talk to us about your journey and why you chose to wear your natural hair? Queen, are you there? Oh man, I think
She might have to log on and then come back on.
Mm-hmm.
Queen says, "See, I see her now." So, Queen, do you want to come log up?
I have not. Yes, I'm here.
You want to log off and come? You want to log out and come back in, or you think you're good now?
Yes, you can't hear me. I'm
I
good.
can.
I can hear you and see you fine.
Okay, so go ahead, Queen. So tell us about your journey.
Okay. Okay, so initially, it's been 11 years since I've been natural. I started to consider this journey because I was trying to save money. I was trying to save time sitting in the shops, going back and forth, spending a whole bunch of money, and just that back and forth, back and forth. At that time, I was trying to maintain a physical lifestyle, and my hair sweat so much, so I was wasting so much time. So I myself that the best thing to do would just to go natural and to eventually transition over to locks. And then there was a part of me that really was drawn to women that was brave enough to wear their natural hair, right? So that was something that I didn't see often. It was like they exuded some confidence, some power about themselves. I'm like, this sister walking around with, her locks, her coils, her fade, or what have you. So it was kind of both initially, just trying to save time, save money. And then there was a part of me that, was just drawn to that look. Now, as I progressed into the natural look and, it kind of evolved into it, I realized that, okay, this was about representation. This was about how you're going to show up as a woman. This was about leading other women. This was about supporting other women. This was about being comfortable in the skin that you're in, right? And so, it became so much more than just money and time and, your hair being affected by the weather. It was about who are you going to show up in the world, who's watching you, and what message are you putting out in the world for women that's alongside of you and that's going to come after you.
Ooh, ashe, ashe. And I love how you talked about how you said women, you observe women who were courageous, because I want to be clear here. Black women, African women who wear their natural hair in a European hegemonic society, they are courageous. And when you do that, like you said, we're making a statement. We're making a statement. You will not control our self-acceptance, our self-love. You're making a statement here. And so, sis, I mean, what you said was beautiful. I mean, it was absolutely powerful. My sister Mia Miata, could you talk to us about your journey?
Now, listen, I've had every kind of hairstyle you could ever imagine. I will never forget. I was 11 years old, and like I said, I had this Jerry curl, and I was going to this predominantly white school, right? And I was getting teased, and I was like, I want a perm. And so the stylist told my mother, her hair is going to fall out, but she wants it. Are you sure this is what you want? And I was like, I want it. I don't care. I want it. Soon as I got home, I started combing my handfuls of my hair was falling out. And so I struggled all through, my teenage years with, self-love and self-acceptance. This was the 90s, right? And so you got to remember, Lisa Bonet and, Freddie from, and they had the natural hair, but it was a certain type of natural hair. You see what I'm saying? It was, like the sister talked about earlier, and I don't like typing or 4B, none of that. Forget all of that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's irrelevant, right? But I say a lot to say is that I wanted to look like Freddie, but I didn't have Freddie type of hair. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know how to do it. I went through college, and I was a grown woman, really, before I realized that my hair could be what it was going to be, and I could still love myself in the process. So I did not cut all my hair off. I'm a Leo. My birthday's on Sunday. Hair is really important to me, right? So I did not cut all of my hair off, but what I did, I transitioned, right? I, grow a little bit, cut a little bit, grow a little bit, cut. And as it was growing in, okay, so I'll just say this. My brother, when we were growing up, he had the, like the pretty boy with the wavy, and people would ask us, y'all got the same mother and father? And I'm like, what kind of question is that? Of course we got the same mother and father, right? But when I started growing out my natural hair, which I had not seen probably since I was a little girl, because like the sister said, it was straightening combs. It was, every Sunday, every other Sunday, my mother was hitting my hair with that straightening comb. And so the reason why I got the Jerry curl was because she was tired of straightening my hair, right? And I think, and we talked about this, Dr. Maat, that for the majority of my life, my ear was burnt. Okay. Probably like 10 years of my life straight, I had a burnt ear, right? So I say that to say is that when my hair started growing in its natural state, I fell in love with myself. I couldn't believe how beautiful I was and how I had been trying to hide.
Oh no,
I know she was going in. I'm like, no, technology is they after us tonight.
And right, and not knowing I had the same hair that might not have been as loose as Lisa Bonet, but I think she had a weave too, didn't she? She had a weave or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I say all that to say is that I fell in love with myself. Yes, my husband at the time was like, "What are you doing with your hair? It looks horrible." You know what I mean? And I would get when I started. When I started, I think I did the straw set, which kind of camouflaged the fact that I had permed ends, right, and natural roots. But I say all that to say is that people that work with, what are you doing with your hair? You know what I mean? But I was in love with myself. I couldn't believe how beautiful I was. And so I encourage every woman to go on a natural hair journey, even if it's just to see what your natural hair looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna end really quickly, but there's a woman on Instagram. Her name is Razor Chic, and she treats women who have extreme hair loss. And she will say in the caption, this beautiful queen has not seen her real hair in 12 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. You see what I'm saying? So this is real. This is a real conversation. I'm thankful that you are brave enough to have this panel discussion, Dr. Maat. Thank you for the platform.
Well, Sister Mia Miata, thank you, sisters, for coming on to have this discussion. Because like Sister Effie said earlier, this is a very sensitive topic. And I agree with Sister Effie. I've gotten into arguments, with literally like debates, because sisters are like, no, and then they start quoting India Ari, I'm not my hair, so I can wear, So I literally have gotten into debates with sisters over, just encouraging them to embrace their natural selves, literally just to embrace your natural self. So my journey is this. When I went natural as a result of reading From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder. I read this book in 1996. I was 15 at the time. I was downtown in Baltimore City with my cousins and friends. Down there is a spot called Lexington Market where there's a lot of traffic down there, food places, stores, and things of that nature. So I was hanging out with some friends, and there was a brother selling books on a table. And so we walked past his table, and he called us on over. And so we went over, and he said, yeah, I want you all to check out my books. And at the time I was 15. I wasn't really into that. None of us were into it. So he was like, man, we ain't buy no books. And so we started walking off. And when we walked off, he said, you come here. Then he said, I'm going to give you this book for free. you gonna get this to me for free? He said, yeah, I'll give it to you for free. He said, you need to read it. And so this book literally sat on my dresser probably for a couple of months. And then I began to get, I became curious about the cover. I said, what is this person and what are they holding in their hand? And so I eventually started reading the book. And anyone that has read From the Browder File, they know that Baba Anthony Browder, he just brings you in. I mean, he wheels you in. So he started talking about melanin and Kemet and I was like, wow. I mean, stuff that I wasn't learning in school. I had just began actually my junior year of high school. And so he started talking about these things. And I said, oh my goodness, I was literally blown away. And then I got to the chapter called The Politics of Hair. The Politics of Hair, where he talks about how when the way you wear your hair, you're making a political statement that people can look at you and determine your politics. So I know that we were always taught that, oh, never judge a book by the cover. You can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, right. The way you go out here in the world, the way people see you, how you wear your hair, how you wear your clothes, you're making statements whether you want to or not. And so when he explained that, and he talked about, why we perm our hair, and he talked about how Black women used to wear their hair natural, and then after the Black Power movement died down, then we began to want to assimilate, and we started wearing perms and weaves and things of that nature. When he started talking about those things, I said, oh my goodness, I want to go back to that. I want to wear my natural hair. And so I remember going to my mother, and she's in the building too, Mama and my aunts. I see them in the building. But so I said, Ma, I don't want a perm anymore. And she said, well, what are you going to do with your hair? I said, I don't know. So I began to grow out my locks. Well, grow out my hair. I didn't have locks at the time. I began to grow out my hair. And when I turned 17, I said, Mom, I want to lock my hair. And she said, well, sweetie, you got to think about your job. And, I don't think people are going to be receptive to you wearing locks. And I said, Ma, at that time I was 17. So, I was radical. I ain't care. I'm going to do my thing anyway. I don't care about no job. I'm going to wear my, and so I ended up locking my hair at 17, and I've been wearing locks ever since. And I'm 40 now. So I've been wearing locks for 23 years. And I give thanks for that. And I feel like Sister Akousa in that at that time when I was making these decisions, yes, Dr. Anthony T. Browder kind of put the battery in my back, but I didn't know, the impact that it was going to have on me psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so I began to just fall in love with my hair, fall in love with my skin, and just to be proud of who I am as a Black woman. And so that is my journey. That is my journey. And so I want to ask you, sisters, another question. How did your decision to choose your natural hair impact? I mean, I know some of you already talked about it impacting you, but also impacting the people around you. So in terms of, like Sister Mia Miata talked about her husband, how did that decision impact people around you, whether it was your husband, your boyfriend, your children, your friends, other women in your circle, other women in your family? How did that impact other people? And so I know, Sister Effie, with you, I want to know, like, when other people around you was perming their hair and you said, well, I'm rocking my natural, I'm gonna keep my natural. How, when you were having these dialogues with people about, keep being natural, so you could kind of come from that angle with your story. But Sister Mia Miata, go ahead and start us off, Queen. How did your decision to wear your natural hair impact you and the people around you?
Let me say, first of all, that, my daughter is like Sister Afi. She's 20. Well, no, I'm sorry. What am I talking about? She's 19. She'll be 19 in a couple of weeks. And she's never had a perm. She's never had nothing but her natural hair. And I'm very proud of that. But at the time I was transitioning, I was teaching in West Baltimore, in Sandtown, Freddie Gray's neighborhood. And I was teaching special education, right? And I was teaching self-contained. And the girls were watching me go through this transition, right? Miss Mia, what are you using your hair? What products are you using? Or how did you get your hair to do that? Like, I asked a young woman, how did she get her hair to do that? Now, young women are asking me, how did you get your hair to do that? I said, well, baby, I don't have a perm. I stopped perming my hair. And so I say that to say is that, I noticed that other young women around me were paying a lot of attention to what I was doing with my hair. And I did not make that connection that you just said until now about what Barbara Brother said about that political statement that you're making when you show up as your natural self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so other young women were watching me, right? They're paying attention to what I'm doing because I'm a leader. I'm their teacher. And now I'm changing my appearance to become, like you said, this more radical or more authentically who I am. And so that definitely affected. Now, I will say that this was pre-consciousness movement, right? Brothers weren't really understanding it. They weren't at that time, right? And this is just, I want to just put this question out there. Have you guys ever experienced where the brothers that say they love the natural, they love this and they love that, are the biggest hypocrites I've ever met in my life? They treat you like crap. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I say that to say it's because you are coming as an authentic Black woman, right?
Come on.
I do not perm my hair, and no disrespect to the sisters, that use the creamy crack. No disrespect. This is not about that. This is about our journey, right? Okay, I choose not to wear the lashes and all of that other stuff, right? I'm just who I am, right? And I feel that I am enough. And that's how I think I impacted other people.
Say that one more. Say that one more time, Sister Miata.
Enough, sisters. We are more than enough. Okay. If we cease to exist, this planet would spin off its axis. This planet would cease to exist because the planet is a Black woman. The planet is Black in its essence. The planet comes from the universe, right? It is a feminine entity, right? And we come from the universe, right? And she chose us to dwell on this planet. That this planet wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for us, especially those women who have chosen to show up who we are, because we are enough. We are more than enough.
That's Sis, I'm telling you, when you speak, my soul you pierce my soul, Queen.
Girl, you do the same. Every other sister.
Goodness. Sister Akousa, tell us how you're. I'm sorry. Sister Akousa, tell us how your decision to choose your natural hair impacts you and the people around you, Queen.
Well, when I initially started to go natural, I was dating a guy and he did not understand it. So I can relate. That was 11 years ago. And I didn't know how to maintain my hair at that time. So I kind of kept like a hat on it. I kind of wore my fro in a hat, and he would be like, "What you wearing? Like, why you want to go get a sew-in?" And so I was faced with, do I be true to myself in this moment, or do I do what he would like just to kind of save the relationship? So I was in a struggle, like a tug of war, and I was dealing with a lot of insecurities, but I was like, this is my time. I gotta follow through. I gotta get through this. And I dared to continue to walk forward in that journey. That relationship ended, and I became so engulfed and just in love with myself. And because I was daring enough to do this, everybody around me was watching low key. There's always somebody watching you, so you got to be careful how you show up. Nobody would really say anything, but it would be like, okay, the looks, or, well, what you use on your hair, or what you doing with your hair, because I was told as a child that I had nappy peasy hair that I needed super, super, super perm, right? You know what I mean? I remember feeling so bad about going into the hair store, and I accidentally picked up a mild perm, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need the super perm, because I did not know anything. I had never been introduced to my hair, my natural state of hair. So being daring enough to just walk out and just be my natural self, and not wear the weaves on top of my locks, not try to cover up my hair until it went grow. People was like secretly watching. And like she said, the younger sisters, they were watching. And I said, okay, you know what? This is bigger than me. This is about my community. This is about the people that I'm connected to. So it definitely impacted the people that I've been connected to, and I know have yet to meet.
I'm up here talking away with the mic. I'm like, powerful, powerful. Get the mic. And I said, oops, I gotta unmute myself. But that was powerful. Like you said, and I hear both of you, and both of you saying that it became bigger, like this decision. You saw how it had an impact on, the guys you were dealing with, the brothers you were dealing with, and then, like you said, the younger sisters who are watching. And so we have to understand that as Black women, as African women, that those black girls are watching us. And so we have to show them self-love. And that means embracing our skin, embracing our features, embracing our hair, embracing our body types. That's another conversation that I want to have, embracing our skin and our body types. But anyway, I want to go ahead and pass the mic to Sister Afi, because I know, Queen, you said you were always natural, but you were having conversations, because you could have made the decision to not be natural. You could have said, well, I'm gonna go in and perm my hair, right? But you've also engaged in dialogues with different sisters about, being natural and embracing them natural self. So can you tell me some of the reactions that you received from that?
I think initially, honestly, none of my family thought it was a good idea. My mother didn't think it was gonna look good. My sister didn't think it was gonna. No one thought it was a good idea. My grandmother, till this day, will look me dead in my face and say, "I don't like your hair." At this point it doesn't bother me because I know I had a purpose for doing it. If someone would come into my house every morning to do my hair, I didn't care about their opinion, because again, I chose the journey that I'm on more for medical reasons than for cultural reasons or for anything else. So I just really didn't care about anyone's opinion at the time. I remember in the beginning I wore hijabs. I wore hijabs as head wraps a lot. You couldn't catch me without something over my hair, just because I was going through the budding and all the strands pulling out when you don't have a good coarse texture. So it took me quite a while to lock up. And I had family and friends that made some jokes. I remember my father, who was like the sweetest person on the earth. I'm such a daddy's girl, but I remember he made a joke with me having a hijab on, a head wrap on, about me being a Muslim, and I had to sit him down and have a conversation with him about the cultural history of locks and about why I chose to go on my lock journey. And he immediately apologized and fully embraced them at that point. My great grandmother told me she didn't understand what she was doing, but she understood me. So whatever I was doing it for a good purpose. To this day, my grandmother's probably the only person that she don't care what I say, the reason why. She doesn't like it at all. But over the years, I've definitely positively influenced the core people around me. I have a niece who lives with me. She has locks now. And my mother, from time to time, she usually likes to keep her hair really short. But she'll be like, how do you think I'll look if I get locks? Is my hair long enough to, she was adamant that I shouldn't have gotten them in the beginning. I mean, at this point, I've embraced my hair, and I never not. Well, I take that back. The first couple of years, I thought my hair looks terrible because they didn't look like the conventional locks that everyone had, and I wanted my hair so badly to look like everyone else's, and it just would not get to that point. And I'm new to Instagram. I've only been on for a few years, but when I got on there, I started seeing other people that had hair, that had locks that looked like mine. And then I was like, okay, I'm not the only person out here. I'm just the only person around my area, because, they still, at this point now, they all do the weave and sew-ins and tracks and all of that other stuff. So I don't really have anyone aside from my niece, who also shares a lock journey. But my boyfriend loves them. So he like wraps them up in a little nest and lays in them. So, long as he likes them, I like them, then that's really the only thing that matters.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. I think that well, my mom, she was natural. I got an old throwback picture, and she's in the building. She's commenting, Anna Scribner. She's in the building, and I have old pictures of Mama when she had her afro. Mommy had during the Black Power movement. Mama was sitting there with an afro, and then after the movement was over, Mama permed her hair, And after I went natural, I remember I literally, I literally kept. She'll tell you, it was like, Ma, you gotta go natural. Ma, you gotta go natural. So I'm telling different women, in my family, of course, because that's where it starts, right? It's you're part of your family system, and so when you're making these decisions, you're going to your family, you're having conversations, and so right now, I can confidently say that most of the women in my immediate family are natural. My mother, she's natural. My aunties, they're natural. My cousins are natural. I would like to think that I had a hand in that, because it was kind of like I went natural and then I started singing. It just like they just started, going natural. One of my cousins came over my house. She's probably watching. She just shaved off all her hair. She was like, "I'm ready. Let's go." And so the majority, like I said, of the women in my family, my immediate family, and so uncles, like uncles, first cousins, like they're natural. And so I would like to think that I had a hand in that. Also, my students. I've had conversations with my students at Morgan, and of course, for those who don't know what I do teach engineering at Morgan State University. But outside of engineering, I would have conversations with my students after class, and we would talk about, like, some of the females. We would talk about hair, and they would say, "Well, Dr. Bailey, when did you start locking your hair?" And I would start talking to them about their hair, and before you know it, it was literally like maybe 3 or 4 female students who were in my class, and they were wearing weaves, and I didn't know that they were natural underneath, but they started taking those weaves out, and I started coming with afros, and I would make sure that I would acknowledge that, like, "Oh, your hair looks gorgeous. Oh, sis, I like you." So when they would wear their little styles, and so before you know it, these women were wearing their bushes, and doing all kinds of stuff. So I think that, like you all said, that it's just that when we go out here into the world, that the way we represent ourselves is very important, because the younger generation is watching us, and that we do have an impact on the younger generation, the younger girls. So my next question, Queens, is this. And this is, again, like you said, we're not dissing women who wear weaves and relaxers. Just like Erica Badu said, she said everybody with natural hair ain't conscious, and everybody with a perm ain't blind, right? So we're not dissing anybody. We're not dissing anyone who wears it. But my next question is this: what do you think that sisters give off? How do you think sisters who do wear weave, and they wear the weaves, they wear the wigs, the straight wigs, the weaves, how do you think that they impact our little girls? Like, what do you think the impact they have? So you just talked about the impact you had when you made your decision. How do you think they impact our little girls, their self-esteem, their self-perception? How do you think they impact that? So what are your thoughts on that? So, like, even just, regular sisters, and even like your Cardi B's or your Meg the Stallions, when our young girls see, well, Cardi B's not black, but like the Meg the Stallions, when they see people like that, how do you think that impacts our young girls psychologically and emotionally? And so I guess I'll hand it to you, Akousa.
Yeah. First of all, we live in a society where imagery is constantly thrown in our face, right? And with the minds of young girls, they're more easily susceptible to what they see, right? So when you're flashing in their face silk long hair that's not yours, nails that's not yours, a body that's not yours, all of these things that's not yours, it's going to be hard for them to accept themselves, because they're naturally going to gravitate to what they see, right? What's popular, what's popping. So we have to be very, very careful about what we're displaying to them and what they're seeing, because they, like I say, that they're young and they're going to gravitate to what they see. So why not show them a powerful image of who you are, who you naturally are? We have enough to deal with as Black people altogether. So the last thing we need to be dealing with is how we're going to step out in this world, and what display we're going to put in this world, as far as whether or not we're going to show up natural or not. So we have to be very, very careful about those things. Your hair, if you're, no disrespect to people, but if your hair is not yours, then I don't think that's a good image for the girls coming up. I just don't think it's a good image. We want them to be confident. We want them to be strong. We want them to be sure of who they are, so they can dodge a lot. A lot of what we bumped into, we help them to dodge those things, and we push them forward by just being our natural selves.
Beautiful, beautiful queen. Thank you so much for that, Sister Mia Miata. What are your thoughts on the sisters who decide who conform to Eurocentric standards of beauty, celebrities, sisters, just period. Like, how do you think that impacts our little girls, our Black girls?
Well, what I will say is that, recently I think Gabrielle Union made a huge statement. She did a big chop, and she's completely natural. She, is showing the world what she looks like without the weave. I know Meg Thee Stallion has several times posted pictures on Instagram, and she has beautiful, beautiful, big, beautiful hair. So does Cardi. And I know Cardi's not Black. I'm glad you said it. And neither is Kamala Harris, but that's another story. But now, anyway, you know, beautiful hair, big, beautiful hair. And I think that there's a dichotomy that's going on, right? I think that to conform, right? And the brothers are caught up in it, and they don't want to admit it, but that's what they like. Okay. A lot of them. Okay. And I'm not, the beautiful brothers that are commenting on this post, but I'm just saying that there is a dichotomy that's going on where, underneath this long, beautiful look, long, I'm not going to say beautiful, a long, straight hair, right, is beautiful, curly, thick, kinky hair. So what kind of messages are we sending here, right? And so I'll speak from my own experiences. Mommy, can you buy me a wig? No, I will not. If you want a wig, you will buy it yourself. Okay. I'm not buying you a $200 wig. First of all, I can't afford it. I'm an adjunct professor. I'm trying to get like dr.maat. I'm trying to teach at Morgan. I want to be full-time professor. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say is that there's a lot of mixed messages that we're sending out. You know what I'm saying? And you said you're going to talk about body images in a little bit. I hope that you do get to that, because brothers are seeing, right, this, Instagram, this Facebook, this instantaneous put together, right? And there's a lot that goes behind that. So what I will say is that my prayer is for every Black woman to embrace her natural self. Now, does that mean, my question is now, are braids natural? Okay, because I'm quick to put in a protective style. You know what I'm saying? So I guess there's a lot that we need to talk about within the natural realm. Okay, but I just think that there's a lot of mixed messages that we're sending out here. A lot of these women go home, they're on Instagram, they got the wig on, they snatch that shit off, excuse my language, and it's all natural. So but you present one thing, but behind closed doors is something else. But why isn't behind closed doors acceptable for you to show? It's not unattractive, it's beautiful. So I think there's a lot of mixed messages that we're sending.
No, absolutely, absolutely, Sister Afi. What are your thoughts on how sisters who conform to Eurocentric standard of beauty, how they impact our Black girls, our African girls?
Just like the Clark doll experiment. Exact same thing. Exact same thing. European beauty standards are a global concern, and oftentimes it seems that we're fighting a losing battle, because these brothers still have this psychological attraction to what's more European because of being denied it. At least in my opinion, that's what I think. So we still have brothers that think, oh, I don't necessarily want a white woman, but I still want something that does not quite look African or quite look Black, because we've been conditioned to think that the closer you get to your Blackness or your Africanness, the more unattractive it is. And that's just something that's been churned into our psyche for hundreds of years. And we keep having these resurgences of the natural hair phase, the getting back to our roots, back to our culture situations, and the waves come and go. Hopefully At this point now, we make more solid, substantial changes in how we present ourselves and that'll move our culture more forward in the way that is controlled by us instead of controlled by others. So I think we do our children a huge disservice, boys and girls, when you have the mother that's constantly, when it's time to get her hair done, she won't even walk around with nothing on her head. She got to have something on her head until she goes to get her hair done. Because you're gonna have the little girls that they're not gonna want the dolls with the kinky hair. They barely want the black dolls. Period. You know, they're definitely not gonna want the black dolls with kinky hair. And if you're not teaching that in your home, it starts at home. It's not the responsibility of anybody else. Well, I say it is as a Pan African because community is what we should be practicing. But I mean, let's be real. When I walk out of my door, there's not a community, an immediate community when I walk out of my door. And if I walked out of my door with a daughter, she would only see our blackness highlighted and prioritized in our home, and that's an unfortunate thing. I also think that it's unfortunate that we pay way more attention to celebrities than we do to the people in our immediate circles. And social media definitely does not help the situation along. I don't really pay a ton of attention to artists and celebrities, but I live in Houston. So Megan Thee Stallion is someone who's pretty popular right now. We kind of see her everywhere, and like you said, sister, she has gorgeous natural hair. But I also think industry pressure, also think cultural pressure. There's an expectation of what she needs to look like. And you would think that if someone went into the game with gorgeous hair, gorgeous body, gorgeous face, what would she need to change? And unfortunately, all of that pressure in the cipher that she's in, really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter how great her natural attributes are. She's going to do something to change those things, and that's because that's what society is driving. And as much as we would like to think that it's black men, we're sisters are doing this because they like it, or sisters are doing this because black men like it. There's always that um, oppressed beginning that creates all of this. Uh, that's what I think.
Thank you so much for that. That was powerful. I was sitting over here, sis. I could hear you. I could listen to you build all day. So I was just, I mean, everything you said, Queen, was right and exact. And look, I just want to acknowledge my mother. She said, yeah, she had an impact on the family. So thank you, Mama. I think I would like to say that I did, but it's not until the family tells you that you did, right? So I want to welcome Sister Felicia from the Happy Film to the panel. This is a queen that I have built with. I probably got on her nerves. I used to call her all the time. Sis, I need some guests. I need you to hook me up with that person. Hook me up with that person, because they have the Happy Film, which is a powerful film family. You can go to, I believe it's happyfilm.com, Sister Felicia. Go to happyfilm.com and get it. It's a beautiful, beautiful documentary that talks about the economic history of Black African people. And they start in Kemet and they bring it up until now. It's a beautiful documentary. I watched it when it was released. I actually watched it with my family. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful documentary. So family, be sure to check out the Happy Film. But Queen, so tonight we're talking about why I chose my natural hair. And so the question when you came in was, how do you think that uh, our younger, the younger sisters are impacted when they see older sisters who conform to European standards of beauty?
Yeah, you know what? God, this is like that's why when you posted this, I was like, this is such a good topic because it's so multi-layered. Because even when you have, your natural hair, like for me, I had an aunt who I remember, I'm from Detroit, and I felt like she was the first person ever to have locks in Detroit. She had them back, I want to say, like in the 80s. And I remember just going like, wow, like she, to me, because I looked up to her, I was like, I want to just be like her. And I think that that's kind of how these young kids are looking to us. But I think it's much more than just how we have our hair. It's really about like how we feel about ourselves, because then how we feel about ourselves, it it comes through in everything, and how we are, and what we wear. Um, and I think that's the piece that that we may just slightly need to work on a little bit, because if we're feeling good about ourselves, and we're conscious about who we are, and we know our history, we're learning our history, it just comes out, and these kids are paying attention. These young girls, they pay attention to every single thing we do, down to how we speak to ourselves, how we speak to each other, how we're creating, how we're loving ourselves. Like, so they're looking, they're paying attention. So it makes sense, if we are presenting a certain way, that they're just going to want to be like us. And we got to be conscious about that. But it starts from the inside out, not at hair inside. I mean, or hair, it's just not just about the hair. It starts from inside. And I think that yeah, they're paying attention with
Absolutely.
magnifying glasses. I tell
Well,
you,
well,
sometimes
look,
I'm
look.
surprised at what they notice about about us, like little details, about how we move and how we're operating. So
Absolutely. And Queen, while you have the mic, what tell us quickly about your journey? What made you? I know
mm,
you mentioned your aunt and you said she was natural, but could you quickly tell us about your journey into,
yeah,
choosing your natural hair, why you chose it? Why did you go natural?
yeah. So so younger, my dad was in the Air Force, so I grew up everywhere. So our home base was Detroit, but I grew up in places like Utah, where they don't know nothing about natural hair. That's not their thing. So only time I would be able to go home and get like a hairstyle, was when I went home to Detroit. I remember whenever the Jerry curl came out, that everybody was wearing this Jerry curl thing. I remember we had the Jerry curl, and I was in Utah at the time. Yep, there you go, sister. And but we didn't have the products to keep the Jerry curl going. We would only be getting home like maybe once a year at this point. And so by the time I got um, out of school, out of high school, and I went into the Air Force myself, it wasn't until I got to Howard University where I remember, I didn't have any money. So it wasn't like just going to get your little hair done every week. That was shutitdown.com. That wasn't happening. And so for all intents and purposes, like my hair was half natural and half straight. And so I just started to like just become more aware of who I was. And so I decided I was going to go natural. And this was the year of the Million Man March, right? I remember I was so amped. I cut my hair off, and it was a year, I think I was before I was about to graduate. And my mother was like, why are you going to do that? We have people coming. People coming for the graduation, like you need to, it needs a, it can't look like that. Because my mom had she had at this point, I think she was just like, had to relax or whatever. And I was like, no, because I felt it in my soul that I needed to be natural, right? But at this point, there was no one in DC around me really at that time that was just like rocking natural hair like that. So I was like, I don't care, I'm cutting it off. And I just remember everyone in my immediate little class in occupational therapy school was just like, oh, why you do that to your hair? Like, it was so not supportive at all. And so 3 months later, I ended up getting a perm. And I remember when the little man put the perm in my hair, tears. I had like that one little glory tear that Denzel has in Glory, one tear coming down. I remember thinking, I will never do this again to myself, because what was happening was I was deciding how I felt about myself based on how someone was looking at me versus how I felt about myself. So then I remember, oh God, it was like right after that little perm, because it was already short. I cut it all out, and it was like a straight little Caesar. And I was so happy. And I decided at that point, I didn't care if someone said they liked my hair or if they didn't. It holds the same weight. Like, it holds the same weight. Like, I don't care. Oh, your hair is so beautiful, because everyone has opinion about what our hair look like, and how they feel about it. Like, there's some dudes who, if I'm have my hair out in the afro, oh my God, oh, your hair looks so good, and then there's some dudes, if I straighten it because I want to get it, cut, and it's still my natural hair, oh my God, it's like, oh God, I love your hair. So it's kind of like you can't make nobody happy. So why
Yeah.
try? Just it's just about making myself happy. And it's so funny because like you, when I'm doing these shows, people always have something to say about my hair. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, wow, it's like my hair is natural, but if I wear it in a different style, it's like for some reason now I'm not conscious. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's just, listen, I think that, it starts from within, and once we feeling good, it just radiates through our hair, you know. And the truth be told, I feel like if you wear your hair natural, you're a chemist, you are an engineer, because doing natural hair ain't no joke. Like this ain't, I know way more about my hair that I've been natural than any time in my life. Porosity, like who's walking around knowing about porosity in their hair? So I'm just saying, I think that this journey has been good. I wouldn't trade my natural hair for nothing. Um, it's just it's who I am at this point.
Beautiful. Beautiful, my sister. And I want to say this. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, he said, whoever controls the images controls your self esteem, self respect, and self development. And so there was a brother in the chat who asked, Brother Melanated Cafe, peace to you, brother. He asked the question. He said, do you think that the likes of Lauryn Hill and early Erica Badu helped pioneer the natural look as being beautiful for pop culture and more of a social norm? I absolutely do think that they had, an influence, that they definitely helped pioneer that.
Yeah.
Before it, remember, it was the civil rights movement. So it was Angela Davis and all of those sisters, Black Panther, Black Power, and all. So those sisters, and then you saw the reemergence of Black women wearing their hair when Lauryn Hill came on the scene. And the reason why I say that is because Whoopi Goldberg was rocking her hair natural. But remember, people used to diss Whoopi Goldberg. Remember, that was actually a crack. So like if you were a dark-skinned woman, with like kinky hair, when people cracked on you, that was a crack. Oh, you look like Whoopi Goldberg, because she always wore her natural hair, but it became cool when Lauryn Hill came out, when Erica Badu, and people started like that early 90s, with that conscious wave of music, hip hop music, then it became cool. But when Whoopi was doing it, in like the 80s, and I can't go further back because I was born in 81, so I can't go further back. But I remember Whoopi Goldberg in the 80s when I was young and I was seeing her in movies. And I mean, sometimes they had on wigs and weaves, they put that stuff on her, but she did have natural hair. Also, when people wore their natural hair, you got cracked on. Remember the color purple, and people be going like this, and when you were, so I mean, I think that again. I think that again that Lauryn Hill definitely and Erica Badu. I say all that to say that I think they did make it cool, but it was done prior to the Lauryn Hills and Erica Badu. But Whoopi didn't make it cool. They made it cool when they came in, with the music.
Yeah, but if I can add something to that,
Please,
just
Queen.
from my memory, Whoopi Goldberg was not cool, and that white man definitely made her not a figure that my folks was comfortable with us. Really, oh, we want to, a movie came out, we want to see this movie. What was the guy's
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, when
Ted.
he went
Dancing.
dancing, what was his name, something
Yep,
like
Ted
that,
Danson.
but
Mm-hmm.
he went on this rant. I don't know if it was a stand-up or something where he was spewing the N-word, and she was defending him after in
Wow.
these interviews and whatnot. And my folks was just like, what?
And
Nah.
he was dressed up in
So
black
I
too.
was, yeah, and I
Remember,
was
he was in
jealous
black too.
when Sister Act 2 came out. I didn't get to see Lauryn Hill. I didn't get to see the movie. So but yeah, Lauryn Hill definitely was one of the first sisters I can remember. Uh really embracing her color as well. Remember we had the conversation about
Yes.
hair color. Hair color.
Yes.
And I also wanted to touch on the sister when she was talking about in college. I went to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, and we had to catch the bus to go to Detroit to get hair care products for. Well, my friend who went with me, she had a relaxer, but we had to catch the bus to go to Detroit because all they had in Ann Arbor was a Sally's, and the Sally's black hair care aisle area was not even a whole aisle. It was like a corner in the back, you know, and they didn't even have mousse, like any black hair care line mousse, so we had to catch the bus to Detroit to go, and it was ridiculous. But hopefully, it's not like that now. But it was
Well,
definitely.
look,
No,
now
we
you
have
now you can order it. Now you can just
yeah.
order it, right?
Yeah,
Because we have the internet. So now people are
yeah.
just ordering it, ordering the stuff. And so that leaves me, ladies, because we're going to get ready to close out. This is my last question, and I do want to bring you ladies back to talk about skin and body shapes. Body shape and skin. So I definitely would love to have another panel discussion around skin and body shape. But this is my last question for this evening. Uh, I called it dismantling the myths because you have a lot of folks out there who say things like, well, a lot of sisters, I'm not wearing my natural hair. It's too hard to manage, because that's what I used to hear when I made the decision to go natural. It was kind of like, well, what are you going to do with your hair? Do you know that natural hair is hard to make? So it was kind of like, oh my, it was a sort of like someone was injecting fear, into that decision. You hear things like, well, natural hair is harder to manage, is this, is that, you need the right chemicals, you need this, you need that. So I want to just close out by asking each and every one of you, like, is that your story? Do you feel like your natural hair was harder to manage than your relaxed hair? Because to be honest with you, I feel like I went through the woodworks. Like, I mean, this is so easy to just, wash my hair, put it up in a style, go twist. Like, I feel like when I had a perm, oh my goodness, you scratch, you put a perm and a relax in your hair is burning, your hair start thinning. I remember one time my hair was, what did my aunt say? It was over processed. And so my hair started falling out. I had to worry about that. I had to worry about, scalp damage. Even women who wear wigs, I know some young sisters don't even have edges anymore. So, I mean, what are your thoughts about that, Queens? Do you feel like managing your natural hair is harder than managing your relaxed hair or the weave? So I guess I'll give it to look, the sister Mia said, give it to me. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead, Queen.
Okay, let me say this. And sis, the Million Man March, I think me and sister and Dr. Maat, we talked about this. That was like a turning point, right?
Yeah.
I was loving this for like 2 weeks. But let me say this. Let me say this. In this body, it's difficult at times, right? Being a Black woman on purpose, right? It is not easy, but it is nothing more gratifying to wake up every day in this being, to have my being in this body, right? So yeah, you got to be a chemist. I had some white buildup right before we came on in. I was like, oh my God, I put the wrong products in, right? So I'm taking a wet, damp cloth, trying to get it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to have white flakes on it. I don't want y'all to think I got dandruff. I say that to say is that it is an honor to have this hair. It is an honor to be in this body. It is a blessing. I thank the creatress every day that I wake up as a Black woman. So yeah, it may be a little difficult at sometimes, right? Because unlike the rest of you sisters, I am not locked. So sometimes I do, I'm experimenting with different products. I seen this YouTuber, she said that all of it's crap anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because none of the products, for the most part, mainstream, like the sister talked about in Sally's, are made by us. There are few Black owned hair care products lines, but most of them have been sold off to large white corporations. But I say sometimes maybe it's a challenge, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, I listen. I feel like until you start knowing your little hair and what it can do, because my hair is twisted now. But I think about like I was saying before, I had to figure out. I've been natural now. God, oh, God, I'm in my 50s. I don't know. forever. I feel like it's since the 1900s. And so, I figured out some stuff now. But the cool thing I like what you said, Dr. Maat, about the sisters making stuff on the internet. Like everybody's making like natural hair care products. And that's another thing. Like when you start thinking about the awesomeness of being a Black woman, it's like we're like making our own products, natural products that are just they're, it's just a plethora of resources now that you have when you're natural. But sometimes it can be a little challenging. But the cool thing about it is that you can have 1,200 styles when your hair is natural. You can for 30 days you can have 30 different hairstyles. There's nobody else's hair is doing all that, you know. And so I think that just overall, I don't think it's a I tell people like, yes, my hair is big and sometimes your hands get tired when you keep trying to like comb it out. You have to rest, you got to comb it out some more when you're trying to work that conditioner through. But it's all good. It's all part of being a Black woman. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
I,
Yeah.
I can remember when I first went natural. If you sisters may know, it was called the line of demarcation, right? So you had the part where it was growing out and it was natural, and then you had the part that was all, still processed. Oh my goodness, that drove me crazy. All my life, I thought that, oh, you got a perm, you can comb through it, it's easy to deal with. But it wasn't until my natural hair started growing out that I realized, okay, I can rub my hand all the way through my hair until I get to the perm. And I realized the perm part was like brittle, it broke, it tangled up so bad. I was so happy today. I sat in that salon, I told her to chop the rest of that mess off because it drove me crazy. So I said all that to say that natural hair, once you do find the product that works best for your hair, it's so easy. And I think, in the Black community, hair is everything, right? So we're afraid that we're going to lose that versatility, right? But as the sister just said, you can do a million different styles, and luckily we have YouTube. I mean, at one point, a ponytail was nothing. It was when you wore a ponytail, it was like, girl, you need to get your hair done. Now with being natural, you can wear a ponytail, put some little curls at the front, and you out the door. You go out dancing, you go on picnic, you do whatever you want to do because it's a hairstyle. So I think it's very easy to deal with, and especially since I have locks now. I don't do anything to my hair. People often say, what do you do to your hair? What you put in your hair? Nothing. I wash it, I may oil it, and I go. So it was the best decision that I've made. So I think we have to keep in mind as we get ready to come to a close is that we create the standard. Yes, there's a standard, but as long as we begin to be more comfortable with ourselves and more accepting of ourselves and fearless, then we will begin to create a new standard for all of these young women that are walking beside us, and also the older women. And that's when true revolutionaries start. When you're willing to step forward and make a change despite of what they say, despite of what's the norm, despite of what's accepted. You just got to be fearless and step out and do it.
Ashe, Sister Afi.
Yes. Yes.
My niece, I'm sorry, sis, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my niece just wanted to stick her head in so y'all can see a lot. She's been listening to the conversation. Um, uh, Maintenance wise, I found that it's easier than having loose hair. Because I had to do the, blow drying. I hate sitting up under the dryer. I had thick curly hair, so all the parting and oiling and greasing and all that stuff. And then after 2-3 days, my hair is dry again, and dandruff, and I'm just not a salon girl. You're not gonna get me to sit for more than an hour waiting to get my hair done. So I just never got into that kind of thing. But when I got the locks, I don't do my own because of arthritis. But even if I could, I probably wouldn't, because I pay my loctician like $75 every 3 months to, But I'm also not a constantly maintaining my locks type of chick. I look good for the first 3 weeks, and then and then after that, all my little curls come out, and it look a little rough and whatnot, and a little lint don't bother me, a little dandruff don't bother me. It's it is what it is. And if someone doesn't like it, I'm quick to say, what you got in on the beautician. Let me give me some dollars, and then I'll go and get my. But until then, I'm gonna do it when I'm ready to do it. When my pocketbook tell me to go do it. When I feel like I look in the mirror and I want to be refreshed, whatever the case is. But I'm so content with low maintenance, and I'm just one of those type of women. So I found that the locks help me a ton. I probably take my hair down and shake it once a week, unless I'm going somewhere. And I'm an artist, so at this point, when I go somewhere, a exhibit opening or something like that, I got something artsy on, like a fedora or a pork pie hat or something like that. So I usually don't have my full head exposed anyway. So it works for me. It's a decision I would not change. If I had to do it over again, and I would make the exact same decision. One of the best decisions I've ever made. And I've only had my locks for going on 5 years. So I'm not like super experienced in, lock life, but I've not regretted anything so far.
Really quick, while we were discussing the topic, my daughter came in and she kissed me on the cheek and she says, "Mom, you're so pretty. And you did your edges," because I never do my edges. They just be everywhere, right? And I had a little breakage right here from some braids. So I just say that the young girls are watching, right? And she loves Meg. She loves Cardi. She loves all of the people that are out there, but she loves me too. She loves me too. And she loves me more. And she says, "Mommy, you're so pretty." And so that just, for me, I just wanted to just say that, how that brought this conversation into so much context, right? And it made it real and alive. And that in that moment, I felt like, wow, this is so amazing. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Maat. You are so amazing. The fact that you had Judge Joe Brown, I feel like a celebrity right now. I feel like I'm Jill Scott. I feel like I'm Erica Badu. You know what I'm saying? I'm Lauren Hill from the 90s. So thank you for the platform. I appreciate you.
No problem, my sister. And I just want to thank each and every one of you queens for taking time out of your schedules. I mean, you queens are very busy. Family, these queens are busy. Trust me. Husbands, children, business. I mean, these queens, they're extremely busy, and we've been on for like an hour and 15 minutes, and so I always tell people that I always try to make sure that when people spend their time and their energy with me, that I thank them, because I think that those are the most important things that we have, right? Our time and our energy. And you could have been utilizing your time and energy doing something else, and being somewhere else. But you committed to being here with me and my listening audience. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would hope that you sisters would come back on so that we can have like another dialogue about skin and body shapes, body types, because that's also a huge issue in our community. A lot of young girls are getting plastic surgery. They're dying from cosmetic surgery and all sorts of stuff, bleaching their skin. And so, I think that we definitely need to have another conversation. But I know that each of you have like businesses and platforms and different things going on. So could each of you just briefly tell the listening audience how they can find you, how they can support you, what kind of things you have going on? Starting with you, Sister Felicia.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? And one quick thing, when the sister was talking about the hair, like you were like, you're an artist, and I was like, yes. And I was, I was gonna say that I actually belong to a hair club, because there's a sister that was like thinking the same way with this like maintenance piece. So you just pay one little price, you go 2 times a month, and she just sits there, she just does your hair, and it's only you, and it's real, it's economical. And I was just like, that has probably saved me so many times, from, just kind of, kind of changing it up a little something, something sometimes. But I love it. Fedora, yes, girl, yes. Um, so you guys can find me on anything happy, HAPI film, happy film. I'm on all social media platforms at happyfilm.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's Happy Film. Yep, you can find me there.
Beautiful. And family, please, if you haven't purchased the Happy Film, if you haven't seen it, please go to Happy Film. And that's Happy, HAPI film.com. Like I said, when it was first released, I watched it with my family, and we learned so much about the economic history of African people starting in ancient Kemet. And so it's a powerful film. And so if you haven't got it, family. If you haven't seen it, please make sure that you visit Happy Film, HAPI Sister
And you know what?
Afi.
Oh, no, and I
Sister,
just want to say thank you, Dr. Maat, because you were in the first stages when we were using a whole different platform to show the film, so it kept buffering, and you were standing there the whole time. You had your family, so I want to say thank you. We have now since grown, so you can actually watch the film with no buffering. You know, you can download the film, you can get the DVD. But I just appreciate you because you were the first. You were in that first wave of folks who just believed in us and sat down, and you was like, I'm gonna do this. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem. And we gotta support each other, right? Like things happen. You know how like things happen and we want to throw away each other, like, oh, this happened. No, we gotta have patience with each other and say, hey, look, we at the mercy of technology. Things happen, things happen, and we just gotta exercise patience and love with one another. And so again, sis, no problem, no problem at all. Sister
you.
Afi, how can they find you? You know that I have a piece that you made for me. Well, you made it, and I called you. I said, sis, I need it. You posted it on social media. I said, sis, I need it. I need the original. So I have actually a piece of Sister Afi's right downstairs in my living room. So when people come in and they look on the wall, they see your piece right there. But sis, tell them, tell them where they can find you, where they can purchase some of your beautiful oil paintings.
I am at afiesa.com, AFIESE. I am only on, well, I have a Facebook page, but Facebook keeps me in jail. So I can quickly be found on Instagram at afi.ese.art. Also, I run a pro-Black art-based memorabilia site, I guess is the best way I can describe it, melanatedgreats.com, which unfortunately after Black August will be taking a hiatus. I have a couple of solo shows I'll be preparing for, and it's only one of me, and nobody does it like me. So there's going to have to be a brief hiatus. Well, not brief, it's probably going to be 6 months. But that's melanatedgreats.com, also at melanatedgreats on Instagram.
Well, I need to make sure before you take your hiatus that I get some more coloring books. I need to put in a I need to put in an
I
order.
always got you. Even if the shop isn't up, I always got you with that. And that painting that you have has always been, since I started my artist website, the #1 selling reproduction on my site. I get so many inquiries from galleries about that piece. I'm like, I don't have they don't want to print, they don't want a reproduction, even on canvas. They want the original. I'm like, it's gone. It's where it's supposed to be. It's going to be appreciated there, and it's going to stay there. So, but
Queen, we love it, Queen. And I
you.
I felt so honored when you showed me that it was displayed in Times Square in New York for like a whole week. It was like on the building, and I was just like, wow, like I have that in my living room, like I literally have the original to that, and so I just give thanks, Sister Afi, just for your work.
And thank you for always supporting me, and also with Dr. Broder as well. That piece that you
you painted a picture. You painted a piece for Nana Dr. Patricia Newton when she transitioned.
Yes, Dr. Newton.
And we displayed your piece at her 40-day ascension ceremony. And so, sis, you a bad sister, and so I just give thanks for you and give thanks for your work, Sister Miata. Now, this sister, oh my gosh, she blows me away with her voice. When I first heard her sing, I mean, I was blown away. And come to find out, she sung at Morgan State University. She sung on the choir underneath the choir director Carter. And what was his first name, Sister Miata? Nathan, yes, Nathan Carter. And you say you traveled the world with him, singing, with the Morgan State Choir. But Queen, tell them where they can find you.
Oh yes, I'm on Instagram under Mia Miata, Facebook under Mia Miata. MiaMiata.net is soon to come. I am the author of The Goddess Code. You can find that on Amazon. I am a vocalist. You can find my CD, Mia Miata's Urban Arias. Lord, how come me here? Lord, how come me here? Lord, how come me here? Lord, I wish I never was born. You can find that on Urban Arias. You can find that on CD Baby and also on Amazon. I'm just happy to be here and among such beautiful, talented, amazing, beautiful, lip popping sisters. The red is just popping. I love it. And so I'm just happy to be here. Thank you once again, Sister Maat. I'm a adjunct professor at Morgan's. I'm sorry. Look at me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be like you, girl. At Baltimore City Community College. I'm in a doctoral program at Morgan State University. I'll hopefully I finished my dissertation proposal. I am doing a qualitative study on Freddie Gray neighborhood, Sandtown, Winchester, GED students post Freddie Gray, understanding their struggles toward earning their high school diploma. So I'm just a busy sister, like you said, but I'm here to serve. I am a servant. I am a servant of the Most High, and I'm just thankful to be here. So I got to get some coloring books. I see. I got to watch a movie. I see. I got to find out what this sister does so I can support her. I'm going to hand the mic over to you, my queen.
Ashe.
So you can reach me on Facebook. I'm very responsible on Facebook as well as Instagram. Also have a YouTube channel. It's Akousa Amponsa. Both of them are Akousa Amponsa. If you're interested in purchasing my book, Izzy's Awakening, just send me a message and I will shoot that to you. I also run a women's support page where I help women to define fitness in every area of their life. That is T-Fit Queens on Facebook.
All right, hold on. I gotta show you something, Queen. Gotta show you something. It's right here. It's right here. I knew you were going to be on tonight. It's right here. So I got to bring you back on and bring Sister Miata back on to talk about your book. So I'll let Dr. Frances Cress Welsing close us out. Her ISIS paper. I want to leave you all with this. So Nana said this. She said, "What must we as Black women do? It is my conviction that the African proverb, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the nation, and its destiny is true. Black women are the mothers and thus the first teachers of Black females and Black males alike. With increased consciousness of their importance as the first teachers, Black women can determine whether future generations of Black children will be warriors or if we will continue to be slaves living in a highly refined state of psychological oppression, which is no less a death than direct physical destruction. Black women as mothers and teachers can teach the first powerful lessons in pride and respect for cultural, historical, and genetic Blackness, while steadfastly refusing to impart any of the white oppressor's lesson in Black self-hate that we learn as children." So I leave you all with that quote. Peace and love to your family. Please be sure to share this show. I think that all people, brothers and sisters, young brothers, young sisters, older brothers, older sisters, need to watch this discussion. So please, family, make sure that you share this show. Sharing is caring. And if you enjoyed this discussion, be sure that once the video uploads to YouTube, drop a comment under the post. Drop a comment under the YouTube so we know you were there. And also thumb up the video. Thank you for joining, family. Peace and Black Power.